I'm Lauren Rubin. I'm the Behavior Coordinator at Dakin Humane Society.
We've been operating in this building in Springfield since 2009, and in the last couple of years, we've been very lucky to have some generous donors allow us to upgrade quite a few spaces around the building.
All right, this is our courtyard. It recently got upgraded. This used to be just a bunch of open space behind me, which made it really difficult for us to safely introduce dogs who didn't know each other, do dog meets for the public, and also just limited how much space we had for multiple dogs to get out and get exercise at the same time. Thanks to a generous donor, this fencing was put in, and now we have a great way to introduce dogs without them getting too close to each other if they're scared or upset. A good way for us to exercise multiple dogs at the same time, especially if it's like snowing and they can't go for walks, they can come out here and we can have 2 or 3 dogs out running around and playing, and still preserved our outside lunchtime for staff, which is super nice because a little sunshine goes a long way in a fun but hard job. This is our transport yard where dogs from out of state can come run around and play. This used to just be kind of an empty yard with no fencing or anything, so we couldn't have toys out here. Our transport dogs have to be quarantined away from our regular dogs for safety, just in case they're carrying any infectious diseases, which means they couldn't use our other courtyard. So they had to come out here on leash, hang out for a little bit with nothing really to do except walk around and then go back into quarantine. Because of a generous donor fencing these yards for us, our transport dogs can now come out here and be off leash to run, to play with toys, to get their wiggles out and enjoy a safe space for them to actually get to be dogs during their quarantine period. This is our transport room where we quarantine our transport dogs just to keep our local dogs safe in the event of any infectious diseases. Thanks to donor support, these used to be individual runs, so one dog would go in one space, one dog in the next space, but that gave them pretty limited area to move around. It would be like if you lived in a studio apartment with no bathroom. So thanks to a donor, they added these doors in the middle that drop down so that we can clean, but also lift up so the dogs can actually have an additional room where they can use as the bathroom away from their bedding and their food, or just to have extra space to move around. The transport dogs in that small space before used to sometimes need anxiety medication just because being kept in a small area for 3 days is really hard. With the addition of the drop doors, we don't have to medicate them anymore. They're much happier and more relaxed. Between that and the transportation yard, they're actually able to settle in and think, wow, coming to Massachusetts was the right thing to do. All of these changes have greatly improved the quality of life for the animals in our care. We're always looking for new, exciting, and innovative ways to keep making their lives better during their stay here at Dakin Humane Society.